Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and for your patience in waiting. I will read out the decision. So the aim of the Licensing Act 2003 is to provide a more flexible licensing system by reducing the burden of unnecessary regulation, but still maintaining public order and safety. The 2003 Act makes it clear that licensable activities are to be restricted only where it is necessary to promote the 4 licensing objectives. In determining an application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interests of the local community, the subcommittee is required to give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, the representations, including supporting information presented by all the parties, the guidance issued under Section 182 of the 2003 Act, and our own statement of licensing policy. The statutory guidance provides that it is imperative that our decision is evidence-based, and that in reaching a decision of the factors which are to be taken into account are limited to a consideration of the promotion of the licensing objectives and nothing outside those parameters. The Licensing Specialist report has also highlighted relevant provisions of the statutory guidance and our own statement of licensing policy. Finally, by way of setting the scene for our decision, the licensing subcommittee is mindful that an application that must be considered on its own merits. Our function is to take such steps as we consider appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives, having regard to the representations we have received and heard. It is against this background that the subcommittee has considered the application for a premises licence at Eversfield Manor Cottages at Bratton Clovelly. The application seeks approval for the supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises, the provision of late night refreshment, and the performance of live music. The full details of the application are set out in paragraphs 2.1 and 2.2 of the Licensing Officer's report. During the hearing, Mr. Stockbridge, on behalf of the applicant, modified the application so that there would be no amplified music outdoors after 11 p.m. and live music would be confined to indoors with a monitoring system to be installed. As our legal advisor explained, an application for a premises licence must be in writing and be accompanied by a plan that complies with certain prescribed requirements. The prescribed requirements are set out in Regulation 23 Regulation 23 3 and 4 of the Licensing Act 2003, Premises Licence and Club Premises Certificates, Regulations 2005. The subcommittee also notes that while the statutory guidance says that plans need not be professionally drawn, they must contain the prescribed information. The prescribed information is to ensure that the licensing authority has the information it needs to determine the application. The subcommittee notes that the plan submitted with the application and included in the agenda papers does not meet the prescribed requirements. We heard from the licensing officer that more detailed plans had been submitted in May 2022, but these had not been accepted by the licensing authority, and this had been communicated to Mr. Stockbridge. Excuse me. In the subcommittee's view, these rejected plans cannot form part of the application to be considered. The plan must therefore be taken on its own merits. While Mr. Stockbridge tried to explain the details, we did find this to be confusing and therefore did not feel able to consider granting the application, were we so minded, subject to a condition requiring the submission of a plan that complied with the statutory requirements. The plan as submitted does not, in our view, comply with Regulation 23(3), in that it did not show the extent of the perimeter of the premises, the location of points of access to and egress from the premises, the location of escape routes from the premises, areas within the premises used for each licensable activity, fixed structures, including furniture or similar objects temporarily in a fixed location, but not furniture, which may impact on the ability of individuals on the premises to use exits or escape routes without impediment, the location of any steps, stairs, elevators or lifts, the location and type of any fire safety and any other safety equipment, and the location of the kitchen on the premises. The application also referred to the spa lounge, bar, etc., without these being shown on the plan. The plan did not comply with Regulation 23(4) in that it didn't have a legend. In the circumstances, we felt that we had no alternative but to refuse the application on this preliminary point. While the subcommittee heard from various speakers, both for and against the application, because of the subcommittee's decision on the non-compliance of the plan with the statutory requirements, the subcommittee has not reached a view on these representations. All parties have the right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of receipt of written notification of the Licensing Subcommittee's decision. So thank you all very much indeed for your contributions, and I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you.
I would really like detailed information as to why those drawings were not accepted. I understood they were accepted by the STMAR and continued as such. They contained all of the information that you've mentioned there, every iota of it. And the final drawing that you got was simply a very final request from Ms. Dumont that she needed something that showed the buildings with relation to the premises.
I note your comments, Mr. Stockbridge, but we have made our decision. That decision is final. I don't know what internally what would happen, but I do know there has been email exchanges between you. So our decision is made. So your recourse is to appeal to the Magistrates' Court. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all as well.
But the business will carry on exactly as it is. This is a strange thing. You're very welcome.
Be aware that the it is still all going through. Okay.
Get IT to
Yeah, I don't invite you. Has you got a copy of that? I could hit leave, but I'm not sure what would happen to the recording. I don't want to.
Can you see this?
Sorry?
Can you see it?
No, because it will need to be uploaded to the. Steve, thank you, and if you're able to. Work your magic. You've got that right with that. It's being recorded to be uploaded to.
IT, I can't see.
Do we to get Chris?
Yeah, I can't see it. I don't know if it's being recorded.
There's leave up there.
Yeah, I think that will be to leave the Teams meeting. I don't know. So stop any of the recording needs to stop. Otherwise it will.
I think we've got recording.